What's happening, guys? We're back on the daily videos now. So today's video, we're going to talk about a little journey that I'm on at the moment, a bulking journey. I've currently gained around 10 to 12 kilo. I think it's 12 kilo today because I'm 78. For those who followed my journey before, when I was doing my photo shoot prep, I got down to 65 kilograms. So it's around 13 kilograms from the 26th of April to today, September the 4th, which would make it 13 kilograms in 3 months, in 90 days. I've managed to put that on. It's funny, I'm drinking my chocolate milk as I make this video, which is one of my secrets. But it's been a pretty interesting journey in such a short space of time. The goal is really to hit 85 kilograms straight on the head, and then from there pretty much diet back down. Hopefully have put on a little bit more tissue, a little bit more muscle mass, and then from there pretty much just improve the overall composition, the overall mobility. And I was thinking today how I could tell a little bit of a story of how I managed to actually get to this point now, because it's been pretty quick. I've gone from pretty much 6% to 7% body fat to now, I mean, I can show you. I'm alright, I've still got abs and all, but I'm pretty heavy, I'm pretty big. And yeah, it's been a pretty good journey. We've definitely put on some good amount of size, good amount of muscle mass. And I think as someone who struggled a lot in the past with bulking and actually putting on size, putting on actual tissue, I'll just adjust this ever so slightly. There you go, look at that. And for someone who struggled with that, I think this will be a very, very useful video for anyone who wants to also put on some weight. So I feel like you're either one of these two people. You're either one of the guys who find it really easy to cut and lose body fat due to the fact that your appetite is much lower, which is me, or you're someone who never really struggles to put on weight because your appetite is very high. You can consistently eat. Now, I'm kind of in the middle. I've forced myself and trained myself to just eat as much as possible, but as time's gone on, I've gotten to a point now where I've realised I'm just not made for this bulking shit. I'm at 3,500 calories, and honestly, if I did not have this chocolate milk here, I'd be pretty much finished. So I'm going to give you a few tips. Now, number one, the first one that most people do not do is hit their 10,000 steps every single day without fail. The truth is, if you are eating a crazy surplus of calories in the 3,500 to 4,000 region, you are going to need to digest a lot of food, and you have to ask yourself if you're consistently sitting down at a laptop. So this is for any entrepreneurs or anyone who works a 9 to 5 who works in an office. If you're consistently sitting down, where is this food going to go? Like at the end of the day, if you're not digesting it, it's just going to sit in your stomach, and that is going to be why you're so full all the time. So don't think of 10,000 steps as a thing you do just in a deficit to burn more calories. Think of it as something that should be, one, just a prerequisite for your overall health and posture, but two, something that's actually going to aid your digestion, which is going to allow you in turn to eat more food. So that's number one. That's been the biggest thing. The second thing has been making sure that I'm eating every 2 to 3 hours, and I'm eating pretty much from the start of the day. I've always been someone who likes to fast. I work a lot better in a fasted state. I have the habit of fasting up until around 12 to 1 p.m. from when I was dieting. You kind of have to get rid of that. If you wake up at 6 a.m, you need to start eating at around 9, because otherwise the worst thing that's going to happen is basically where you get to 10 or 11 p.m. or whatever it is, and now before your bedtime, and you realize, shit, I've got 1,500 calories. And that's nothing to do with your appetite and whether it's hard for you to bulk up. That's just poor timing. So that's why it's so important to wake up early and get those meals in. If you think about it, if you have to consume 4,000 calories, you just need to pretty much, in my opinion, have 5 meals, 4,800, so 5 800 calorie meals per day. That's personally what I would do. And you can mix up the variety of meals that you have. So for example, it doesn't have to be just healthy whole foods all the time. Like for example, I have 2 whole food meals per day. The rest is where you can get a little bit tactical. For example, I'm filming this YouTube video. I need to take a call after this. I'm not going to be eating, but those are 2 hours of my time where I need to be consuming food to make sure that I can fit my calories in for the day. So I've got this 750 calorie chocolate milk. It's probably not the best, but there's always a trade-off in this game. At the end of the day, if you want to get massive, you're probably going to have to eat and drink some shit that's probably not the best for you. It's probably not the most optimal, but this is the game because you build more muscle, so who gives a fuck, right? And that's pretty much what's got me here. But I'll tell you what, it was pretty easy up until around 3,000 calories. After 3,200, 3,400, it's been a bit of a difficult one. And it's not even that, like, I know it might seem very easy for people in general, you know, to eat that many calories. Of course you can eat that many calories if you eat shit food, but if you're trying to eat this within the right macro, so for example, if you're trying to hit your protein, you're trying to hit, you know, 500 plus gram of carbohydrate, for me, and I think for a lot of clients, it can be difficult. So just making sure that you have those liquid calories there, you're not abusing them, because digestion is key. Using oats, orange juice, healthy fats, olive oil, you can use peanut butter here and there, this really does help. And then just making sure also that this is one of the biggest ones, we talked a lot about nutrition here, that your training isn't suffering as well. So I've got a coach myself who reviews a lot of my form clips, and we make sure that training is 10 out of 10. Personally, I'm someone who absolutely sends the training because that's what I'm about. Like, I always like to come into the gym and do something that I have not done. That's what pushes me to the next level. If you are someone who is not completely proficient with training and someone who just goes to the gym and just gets the job done and often does the same weight every single week, then you're not taking the surplus as seriously as you should, and as a result you're just going to be gaining excess fat to then diet down to then look the same, which is a waste of time. So one thing that people need to understand, the reason why I've gained a lot of weight so far isn't necessarily just because I've eaten more food. Like I said, I'm not good at that. I'm good at training, I'm not necessarily good at eating food. So a lot of the weight I have gained, no doubt in my mind, is 100% muscle mass. There's a very, very easy way to figure that one out. I'm currently in uncharted territory with my bench press. I'm benching the most amount of weight I've ever benched. And that signifies to me very clearly that I'm much stronger. And as a result, I've grown more muscle. So it's a case of making sure that we're using food as a tool to actually fuel optimal training performance. And remember that muscle growth simply comes from training intensity, followed by adequate nutrition, and then recovery on top. But if your training intensity is in there, you can't just rely on extra food, that's just going to get you fat. So a big mistake people make is not actually looking at their training intensity and just pretty much half-assing it and thinking, oh, if I drink the chocolate milk like Gabriel says, I'll get everything I want. Unfortunately, that is not the case. So it's really important to understand that. So remember what I said there, meal timing, training intensity, making sure that you're not just eating chicken and rice 5 times a day. That's the worst way to do it. Making sure you're using tactical foods such as your oats, your orange juice, your olive oil, your healthy fats. All of this has really helped myself. 10,000 steps to actually aid with digestion. Cool. And the last thing would pretty much be a case of then looking to gain around 0.6 kilogram per week. That's what I've been aiming for. And despite obviously having a bit of a rocky reversal phase from the actual diet, we've managed to actually hold that 0.6 each week. And typically any more than 0.6, that's a very good indicator that you are gaining a little bit too much body fat for your own liking. Any less suggests that you could probably exhaust your training intensity or your nutrition a little bit more. And that's kind of what I'd be aiming for each week, alongside obviously progress pictures to make sure that you're remaining lean, you're keeping your condition. Any indicator that you're potentially going over 18% of the body fat, that's a sign that you should probably look into doing a cleanup, a quick diet, because really once you gain too much body fat, everything kind of goes out the window. You become less anabolic, your insulin sensitivity is not primed for muscle growth, the food partitioning goes out the window. Essentially what all of this means is the calories, the excess calories that you're consuming get stored as fat as opposed to going towards muscle growth. Therefore, it's in your interest to make sure that you start this push-up phase, this gaining phase, lean, which is what I did. I got to around 6-7% body fat, and then try and pretty much gain around 0.6 kilogram per week. You do that for around 3 to 4 months, as I've done here, followed by a quick cleanup and then a potential diet or potential further push-up after, and that's pretty much the best way to gain muscle. That's pretty much how I've structured the last 3 months, and the way I've done it, like I've told you, is those simple hacks. Making sure that I'm hitting my 10,000 steps per day, making sure that I'm smashing the liquid calories, making sure that I'm getting my meal timing right, I'm understanding exactly what phase I'm in. And one really big important point which I want to leave you on just to think about is embracing the phase that you're in. And this goes for life as well. You always want what you can't have. You always think that the grass is greener on the other side. I'll give you a perfect example. I'm in Thailand right now. There's so many people who are leaner than me, and I'm at the beach quite often. It's not ideal. You know, I was really lean before. I'd love to look as lean as possible, but I understand that right now I'm in a very transformative phase of my bodybuilding journey, if you will, because right now I'm trying to put on as much muscle as possible, and this is a very, very important time, because what this means is when I do diet down, which will be very, very soon, I will have more muscle if I remain comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's where most people go wrong. You know, if it was easy, everyone could do it. That's a very nice phrase I like to use often. Get to the point where it gets uncomfortable and realize this is where most people stop. And what most people do is they go 2 to 3 months, they gain a little bit of body fat, they get a little bit soft, they start to lose their abs, and they say, no, I need to diet. And that's the fastest way to get nowhere, because you're just going up, down, and there's no actual progression. My challenge to you is to pretty much follow everything I've said in this video. Get yourself as lean as possible, enter a surplus, make sure you gain about 0.3 to 0.6 kilogram. Follow the tips I've used to actually implement exactly the same structure that's allowed me to gain 13 kilogram in the last 3 months. And when it gets to the point where you feel uncomfortable, embrace it, push past it, have a little diet and a cleanup if it comes to 4 months, and then go again, dependent on your physique needs. If you look at your physique and you say, hey, the legs aren't as big as we need to, oh, the chest and the arms are bigger, remember, that's never going to grow by getting lean or dieting. There needs to be time spent in a surplus where you're eating more than enough food so you can actually grow new tissue and new muscle. And if that is you, and if you're someone who's smaller and you want to grow that amount of muscle, you need to commit to that, essentially. And that's where most people go wrong. They just want to have abs year round, and they don't embrace the uncomfortable nature of obviously being in a surplus. So that's the big tip. It's all a mindset thing. Understand that it's very easy to lose fat. It's not hard. You do a bit of cardio, we can do all of that. But the hard part is actually building muscle. That's where you truly progress. And that's why it's so important to turn up to the gym with complete and utter focus, making sure that you're getting your meals and making sure that your recovery is on point and you're really giving it your all. That's what's going to separate you from most people. And that's what we see typically with clients who do the best. We get form clips, we make sure their training is 10 out of 10. Because once that's there, then they can have extra food to actually fuel that performance, but only if the training is right. And that is how you get elite level results. So I hope that makes sense. That's pretty much my story and pretty much how I got to here. If you don't understand any of it, don't worry, it is confusing. You can DM me on Insta or look at the link in my description of this YouTube video. I've got a video pretty much explaining exactly who I am, how I know all this shit, why I do what I do, and how I can potentially help you. If you're someone who wants to be coached, someone who wants to actually just understand exactly how to go through this entire journey, how to actually gain a load of muscle, lose all the fat, and actually arrive at a shredded elite physique, feel free to book in a call with myself where we can pretty much walk you through the exact strategy. If you want the implementation, obviously we can talk about that and get you moving forward. Other than that, I need to jump on a call. I will catch you tomorrow. Daily vlogs are back. Peace out.